Good evening. It's Hockey Fights Cancer Month as we get through the final stage of the Elite Hockey Experience off season. I'm Kevin Lacey, the commissioner of the EHE, and we will be finding out tonight which coaches wish to potentially re-sign with their clubs. This has been quite a hellacious off season for me. And so I, of course, thank you all for your patience over the last couple of months as I've had a couple of personal losses, and then just the workload has been insane for some reason this off season. Kind of knew that going into it just because the free agent crop was much larger than normal, but for it to take 2 months of my time is just crazy. And so gonna have to figure out some things to change here next off season. Of course, I still want to automate as much as I can so that I'm not sifting through literally hundreds of emails for free agents every summer. But really, I do appreciate all the support that you guys have given me and given the league over the 5 years now that we've been doing this, or this will be our fifth year. And so I definitely appreciated the private messages that y'all sent and the posts supporting the league. There was only one person who really harassed me about getting things done, and he's no longer in the league. So my stress level is significantly lower now. But yeah, I really appreciate that you guys recognize that I will get things done. Obviously, I hold everyone in this league to a very high standard, and I hold myself to an even higher standard as a commissioner and owner of this league. So the fact that you trust me to get things done and have allowed me to have, take the time that I've needed to get everything done, I really, really, truly thank you for that. But enough of that. Let's find out which coaches wish to potentially re-sign with their clubs. This will be of course, the coach lottery as we have done every off season, and this is all based on your performance over the last couple of seasons. Your points percentage from each of the past 2 seasons will be multiplied by a modifier determined from how your team finished in the playoffs, or if you qualified at all, of course. Ultimately, 70% of the odds to re-sign your coach will come from the results from last season, the 2017-18 season, with the remaining 30% of the odds being determined from the results of the 2016-17 season. Now, of course, teams are not required to re-sign their head coach if they choose not to. I know this particular crop is going to be very interesting for coaches because there are 12 teams that need to sign a coach. At the NHL level, there's 9 for the AHL level, if I recall. But six of the seven lowest ranking teams last season are in this pool, and only 2 teams whose coaches are basically on the line made the playoffs last season. So it's going to be definitely a different kind of crop than we've had in the past. Of course, hopefully it'll be a little more exciting than 2 years ago, where only one coach elected not to resign, which basically meant he resigned, and it ended up being Gerard Gallant, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Chicago really got lucky that how that drawing went. Other thing to note here is that 2 coaches retired this summer. Daryl Sutter of the Winnipeg Jets and Ken Hitchcock of the Washington Capitals both elected to retire in real life, and conveniently their contracts were up in the EHE. So in that regard, Winnipeg and Washington will not participate in this drawing because they don't have a coach anymore to re-sign, so they'll be hitting the free agent market. Now, you must have a coaching vacancy in order to make an offer for a new coach at either level. So last year I talked about Lindy Ruff, how I was really on the fence about re-signing him, and eventually I did. His rating is now impacted by the fact that he's an assistant coach now in real life. I may want to look at other options, but in order for me to do that, I would have to fully buy out Lindy Ruff's remaining contract and risk losing him permanently. So that's how it kind of goes. And then, of course, as always, there are, especially this year, there are some AHL coaches who have graduated to the NHL and will not be eligible to be signed to their existing AHL team. Phil Housley is one of them. He was with Alaska last season. Alaska, Jesus, Jay. But he's now an NHL head coach. He cannot be signed back to the Kings affiliate. So keep that in mind. Coaches can't be re-signed or signed for more than 3-year contracts. That's the maximum. And the coaches who are eligible to be re-signed must be given at least a 10% raise from their previous contract or the current listed price, whichever is greater. Please submit all coach offers, whether they're re-signs or signings. Please submit all coach offers to freeagency@elitehockeysim.com. Not to the league address, not to me, to freeagency@elitehockeysim.com. And all the details of that, of course, are in the forum. They are unchanged from previous years. I think you guys did a great job this year with unrestricted free agency. You really did. And so I have pretty good faith that you know what, how to run this by now. Of course, bids confirmed as valid will be posted in the forum at the end of each day. The first run will be on Monday night, Monday, November 5th. No, yes, Monday, November 5th. That will be the first run. If you do not have the high bid on Monday night, then Tuesday you may submit a higher qualifying offer if you desire. That offer, of course, must be a minimum of a 10% raise. Or you can look at other options. If the current best offer remains the highest at back-to-back updates, of course, the coach will be signed to your club. And a current, or as I mentioned before, a current or most real-life NHL head coach may not be hired to your AHL team. So let's get things rolling here. I'm not actually going to do this in odds order this year, just because I kind of wanted to just spruce it up, because there are so many coaches here who I would be surprised if they were re-signed automatically, even if you hit the lottery. So we'll start off with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Michel Therrien, who did not coach in real life last season. The odds for the Maple Leafs to potentially re-sign him, or for him to try to negotiate with you without hitting the open market, are 39.4%. So on the number generator, if numbers 1 through 394 are one of those numbers comes up, then Michel Therrien will be interested in re-signing with the Maple Leafs without hitting the open market. If any number higher than 394 hits, then he will hit the open market, and Toronto can try and negotiate a new deal. But we'll see how things go with Michel. So here we go. 397. So, wait, 397? Wow. Well, Michel Therrien has decided to hit free agency. Wow, you should have won by like 3 thousandths more of a percentage there. Wow, that's definitely the first time that's come that close. But Michel Therrien has decided to possibly move on from the Maple Leafs. Up next, we have another coach who did not coach in the real NHL or anywhere last year, Dave Tippett. Dave Tippett was with the New York Rangers. They made the playoffs 2 seasons ago, but last season they were just short. So it's a 46%, even 46% chance for Dave Tippett to potentially re-sign with the Rangers, and 779. So Dave Tippett is also elected to test the open market. Probably a good call for the Rangers anyway. Tippett's previous contract was $2.5 million, and for being not or for not coaching last year, that would have been a tough re-raise there. Actually, a bunch of these coaches are making over $2 million. So again, like I said, we'll see how things go. Next up, a very peculiar situation here. John Hines of the Calgary Flames led the Flames to the worst season in the history of the Elite Hockey Experience, and therefore only a 26.4% chance that John Hines is interested in returning to Calgary. His rating has improved quite a bit, and so has his minimum value to be re-signed. It would be higher than a 10%. But kind of interesting there, him in theory asking for a raise with only a 293 win percentage last year. Here we go. John Hines, 569. Okay, so far all three coaches have elected to hit the open market. John Hines will be hitting free agency. Next, a coach who is currently not working in real life but did last season, Alain Vigneault of the Arizona Coyotes. There's a 35.6% chance that Alain Vigneault would be interested in coaching the Coyotes again next year. I know what I would do in this situation. Tim, I'm not going to tell you what I would do, but I know what I would do in this situation, because you could. 841, Alain Vigneault hits free agency. So now that he's on the open market, you could replace him with a very good option if you understand the CBA correctly. Just saying. All right, next you've got Randy Carlyle of the Minnesota Wild, who did lead his team to the playoffs last season. Each of the last 2 seasons, actually, Randy Carlyle has a 53% chance that he would be interested in re-signing with the Wild. That would be over a $2 million raise, 2.2 to be exact, I believe. I think that's higher than his FMV. But here we go. Randy Carlyle, 912. Okay, well, 5 for 5 now. Coach is really just wanting to shake things up here in the EHE, and definitely different from 2 years ago. So Minnesota, you're also going to be looking for a new head coach. Next, we've got Peter DeBoer, one of my least favorite coaches in the NHL, because he coaches the Sharks and doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But he does a decent job with the Islanders, although they missed the playoffs last year. Pete DeBoer, a 45.4% chance that he would be interested in re-signing with the Islanders. Tony Chu, what you gonna do? We'll find out. 901. Well, we're just staying way high over. So Peter DeBoer, I swear, if you can read this, this says 1 to 1,000, not 500 to 1,000. So Peter DeBoer also wants to see what other options there are. Up next, this is the laugher one. Todd Richards of the Buffalo Sabres, a 32.7% chance he would like to re-sign in theory. He's been an assistant coach in the NHL for a long time. To re-sign him, it would be $2.2 million or more. I gotta think Todd Richards would love that coin, but let's see how the odds stack. 23. See, Todd Richards knows that he's not gonna get $2 million or more from any team out there. But Roberto, he would love to make $2.2 million next year for you if you decide you want to re-sign him, as decided by number 23 there. Now we've got Dave Hackstall of the San Jose Sharks. It feels weird to say, especially considering the Sharks just beat the Flyers tonight. Suck it, Eric. Sorry, Tim. So yeah, Dave Haxtell of the San Jose Sharks, a 36.2% chance that he would like to continue the build there in San Jose. Missed the playoffs, I believe, every year in the league, actually. So let's see, 36.2% chance. 224. All right, there's the second one. Dave Haxtell would like to stay in San Jose if Kyle would like to bring him back. So we'll see how that goes. Now we've got Paul Maurice and the St. Louis Blues. Here's where we're starting to really pick things up. Paul Maurice, still only a 34.7% chance. The Blues really struggled last year and trying to get themselves back into the playoff hunt as they were 2 years ago. Paul Maurice, 34.7% chance. And 621. Okay, so that's a big name out there in the market. Paul Maurice may resign with the Blues. He may not. Gonna guess he'll get a decent raise just because of the bargaining. And last but not least, the one team that really has been up high for most of the EHE. It's Todd McLellan and the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins still currently without a general manager, although there are a couple of candidates. Basically, it comes down to who's going to make it to Boston first at this point. There's a couple of candidates, and whoever doesn't end up there is probably going to end up in Pittsburgh. But what will Todd McLellan do? It's a 60.8% chance that Todd McLellan would like to come back to Boston. Boston, who he led to a President's Trophy 2 years ago, and then a first round playoff loss. And then last year, a decent middle of the pack year. They got himself in the playoffs and then went to the Stanley Cup Finals before getting swept by Colorado. So Tom McLellan, what you gonna do? 60.8% chance. 562, just under the cut. Tom McLellan playing hardball a little bit, but Tom McLellan is interested in coming back to the Boston Bruins, so whoever does end up as the GM for the Bruins has that option. Wow, this video ended up way longer than intended, but I'm on Candy Corn Sugar Rush right now at 1:30 in the morning, and yeah. So thanks for watching again. Thanks for your patience. The preseason, which is going to be condensed by a couple of games, or a game. The preseason will likely begin, I'm hoping, next weekend. It depends on how quickly this coach free agency goes, but stay tuned because it's gonna. If it's not next weekend, it'll be early of the following week. The preseason will be finally underway. I cannot wait. Once games can go, I can actually focus on all the other things that I wanted to do in the off season. Use some of the donation money towards improving the website and the look and everything like that. So things will be easier for me, I hope, which means easier for you guys. Thank you all. Season 5, big season number 5 in the Elite Hockey Experience is about to begin.